I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're diving into the powerful memoir of Maurleen Davidson. It is called From Shadows to Sunlight. It is a heartfelt narrative that takes us through her personal journey from a childhood that was filled with trauma to a life that is filled with resilience and strength. Join us right now as she shares her transformation from despair to empowerment, offering hope and inspiration to all. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. We ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Maurleen, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Well, thank you so much, Logan. I feel so honored and excited to be here and share this story. It has meant so much to me, so it's such an honor to have this opportunity.
Well, it's an honor to have you on the show. You know, you're a very vibrant person, a vivacious person. Your good energy just kind of exudes from you as soon as you set eyes on you. So you have done a 180 degrees in life. You don't look like someone who grew up in a childhood of despair. But I
Um,
guess that's the whole point of the story is that you can turn things all around, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things that allowed me to get here where I'm at is everything that we do in life is about choice. And sometimes we don't even know that. We just think that things are happening to us. We fall into the road of victim, and it really doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with the choices that we make in life. And once you realize that, you make a choice for things to go bad, you can make a choice for things to go good. And that's what I did.
Absolutely. Basically focusing on the positive, choosing your reaction to your circumstances, and deciding not to frame yourself as a victim. I think that's all very, very important and great advice. What inspired you to share your story?
Well, basically, I had loved writing, and I knew I did from school because normally you would have to write an essay for 250 words, and I usually wrote it for 1,250 words. So I knew I had writing in me. I knew I was in a bad space, and so I had to figure out how I can do this. And writing happened to be my out. And so I started like writing stuff. I didn't have a diary. I didn't have a journal. I would just write a word down. And then I would go to the computer and write 4 chapters based on that word. And I realized that I had a talent of writing. So I literally started figuring out how my life could get better. And then I started writing the book. And this was like 10 years ago. And in that 10-year period, I started working on myself. And what inspired me to do that is knowing I was in a bad place. And that in order for me to get to a next level, I had to make a change. And so I was inspired by knowing that I had now had found purpose in this writing. And in that purpose, I found that I wanted to help others. And that what is drove me to make a change in my life so that I could be helpful to others.
Tell us a little bit about the pivotal moment in your life that marked the beginning of your transformation.
Well, where it started was me feeling like life was over and there was no real given reason to move on. I realized that I'm not the only one that has sorrow, that has pain. I'm not the only one that has a story, not the only one that has been broken. And once I realized that, in order for me to do anything with my life, I had to make a change. In order for me to find purpose in life, I had to start looking for love within myself. And I realized that all the choices I made is because I didn't have love for myself. So that made me start looking at health books, at inspirational books. It made me start reading. It made me start looking at where do I begin? And in that, I found my transformation in studying and looking at things and how others have worked through trauma.
Was it difficult writing your story because you did have to look back at those traumatic years in your life?
What was difficult was once I went through the healing process and was able to pick the book back up and now write it from no pain, from not being broken. What was difficult is people not knowing who I am or not caring about what my story was, or people that who did know me might read the book and then judge me because the book is very raw, it's very authentic, it's vulnerable, and it's spiritual. So I felt this fear of being judged. And so once I conquered that and realized that fear is only giving power to someone that you think is so wonderful and have done something so great that you gave over your power to them to come back and judge you. And once I took that power back, and once I conquered that fear, then it became easier to not look at this book as being difficult. I own my story. So it was not hard for me to write the story because I own it. I don't own the pain behind it or the trauma or the victimization that others might, feel in reading it. That I don't own. I just own the story because I just want to help others to look at it as being inspirational, look at as giving them a pathway, to living life to the fullest.
Absolutely. Tell us how your background in spiritual mentorship and personal growth has influenced your writing and your journey.
Well, I grew up in the church all my life. And in my early adulthood, I felt there was something missing. I was very good at going to school, studying. I was very good at getting good grades. I was very good at going to church and doing everything that they said to do without asking any questions, without, knowing who I was other than a student, of the church. And so when I got into early adulthood, I knew something was missing. And so in this journey of healing, that's when found a spiritual connection with God. And in that spiritual connection, it was way different than all the years that I had been in church. Now, this spiritual connection was something that I could feel was in me. And so that is the spirituality that has blossomed, that has given me the love that I have for myself. Now, when I go out and when I reach out to others, my cup is full. It's not empty because of that spirituality in me. It's no longer an empty vessel. Now it's full, and now it can give to others in a very unique way that spiritualness does. It's very unique.
Wonderful. What coping strategies and lessons learned do you offer readers who are facing their own adversities?
One thing that I have learned is after every storm, there's a rainbow. And if you have eyes, you can find it. If you have wisdom, you can create it. If you have love for yourself and others, you won't need it. So I have learned that trouble doesn't last always. And sometimes we think of the word trouble and we associate something with it, but really it doesn't have to be trouble. It could be something that comes in your life that is to strengthen you. And in that strength, you learn that anything that comes to you, you can make it. And you also learn that it's not about believing, it's about knowing. Believing is sitting, knowing is action. And so you can always do something about what you face. And it doesn't always have to be looked at as trouble. So I've learned to look at things differently and what it really is, because now I have the strength to get
Yeah.
through it.
Absolutely. Reframing is so important. It changes our point of view immediately, and the effects of that are profound, particularly when coupled with spirituality, as you mentioned. Tell us a little bit about your writing career. Is this your first book? Do you have another book planned? Tell us about that.
Actually, it was my very first book, and it was
Mhm.
published in March of 2024. The publishing company has been pushing me to write another book, and initially I felt like, no way. But when when you have that passion to really want to help, one of the things that I have learned is after publishing the book and after coming from under the bottom and reaching to the top, there's a there's something that you got to do to stay on top. You can't just reach the top and that's it. There's something you got to do. So my second book is about mental health
Wonderful.
and wellness. Yes.
Absolutely great topics. There certainly is an epidemic right now of people struggling with mental wellness, for sure. So I'm sure it'll be a help, just like this book will be a help. Yes, it's your memoir, but it's also part self-help book for folks out there who are struggling. The name of the book is From Shadows to Sunlight. It is a heartfelt narrative that takes us through Maurleen's journey from a childhood filled with trauma to a life filled with resilience and strength. In the book, she shares her transformation from despair to empowerment, offering hope and inspiration to all. Maurleen, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Oh, thank you, Logan, for having me. I really do appreciate it. So grateful.
We're grateful to have you on the show. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.